Beyond Stillness, Stories After Stroke is made possible by our guests and tax-deductible donations from friends and listeners like you. Join us in empowering stroke survivors with stories of wisdom, purpose, connection, and hope at www.beyondstillness.org.
This week on Beyond Stillness, Stories After Stroke, guest Shirley Howell offers her story about her 3 lifelong characteristics of ornery, obstinate, and stubborn have positively influenced her recovery process. She's found the time after stroke as an opportunity to refine and recreate herself. Thank you for joining us for part 2, Shirley Howell's interview. Hello and welcome to Beyond Stillness. Stroke offers a powerful, life-changing shift in perspective. Each colorful memory creates a parable for life's greater teachings, a compass for journeys ahead, and inspired wisdom for unique growth. This radio show, Beyond Stillness, offers an hour of pause for storytelling and reflection. Ultimately, Beyond Stillness is a welcoming environment that reveres the moment beyond stroke's paralysis. Still moments unite humanity and divinity. I'm your host, Molly Bucola. How do you think that you developed your characteristics, ornery, obstinate, and stubborn?
I don't think I ever had those words when I was growing up. But when I was pondering this question, it's like I went right back to things that happened as my childhood. I was born a girl, which my grandmother hated. She loved my brother, and I could see that difference. I mean, she would walk in the room, right over to him, hug him, and give him money, and I would be ignored.
Wow.
And in fact, I don't even remember the first 13 years of her in my life.
Whoa.
So in a way, I had to become strong because I didn't want to internalize that, even though as a child, I couldn't think of that. I just knew I didn't want that to control. And then I started school and everybody thought I was stupid. I would never amount to anything. In fact, my 5th, 6th, 7th, 8th grade teacher was all the same lady. She told my mom that I would never amount to anything. I would never succeed in anything. And even though I was an adult when I heard that, it kind of made sense. But it was like, pardon this word, but as to hell, I'm going to be nobody.
You don't know who I really am at this moment either.
Right. So, I mean, all that, I just, I internalized it. I had no one to talk to about things like that.
Huh.
And it's just, I don't know. I guess it was my motivation.
Yeah.
To just go and experience life. I was the first one in our family to go to college, finish college.
Wow.
And at the age of 40, went back for a second degree. And now I have 5 certificates on top of that. So.
Wow, Shirley.
For all her thinking that I was stupid, it actually, I think, propelled me into that ornery, obstinate, and stubborn place. That you tell me I can't, I will show you how I can.
Sounds like it started as a defense and then it actually became a full-on offensive. This is how I'm going to live my life and I'm going to go for it.
Right.
Good for you.
According to my mom, I have failed at every goal that she had for me in my life. But it makes me happy because then I know I'm being me and who I'm intended to be. And I would not have changed a single experience that I have had for anything.
Did you consciously decide who you are inside and how you were going to go about your life? Or did it unfold little by little as you?
It really unfolded little bit by little bit.
Okay.
I don't think I could even put those words to myself when I was that age. I was just trying to survive and get through and find out who I was and am.
Mm.
Because I grew up knowing I had to do this and do this and do that. I refused to do them. So I guess I was still ornery, obstinate, and stubborn then. I just didn't have those words or the ability to understand that that's what I was doing.
Did you have any role models in your life that were ornery, obstinate, and stubborn and lived by their unique self? How do I say this? Just to be who they are?
Yeah. There's only one person I could think of, and I didn't even know her really until I was an adult. But it was my great aunt Louie. She lived up in Staten, Oregon. And of course, we were, probably 1,000 miles from her at that point. But when I moved up to Portland in the early 80s, and I would go down and visit her a lot, she was the world's most amazing lady. She had traveled 48 states by Greyhound bus.
Whoa.
Not by plane, not by car, but by bus. And she would always tell,
In what years?
I am not sure because I was a little kid most of those years, and the only time I saw her was when her husband passed away. So I'm not sure how many years it took her to do that. But back then you would buy one pass or a ticket for a Greyhound, and you could get off anywhere you wanted to. And that's how she did it. She would go here first, get off, do some things, get back on, go to another place. And that adventuresome spirit really took hold of me. At the age of 83, she had already given up her driver's license because she didn't feel safe. Nobody took it. She gave it up. At 83, she took her first airplane ride and her first helicopter ride. Yeah. Exactly. That look on your face yeah.
I love it.
Yeah. So just the little while that I really got to know her, she inspired me. She's the one that started getting me to go travel and go experience different things.
Wow. Sure.
I did not do it by Greyhound, by the way. I drove and did it by car and plane. So
I'm sure you're inspiring more people than you know, much like she inspired you.
Yeah. Her biggest story, I don't know if we have time.
Yeah.
But the best story, this was when she was young. She was born in the late 1800s. They lived in Oklahoma. Her father came in one day and said, Oklahoma is too crowded. We're moving to Canada. So we're talking early 1900s. They went from Oklahoma to Canada to get away from the crowd of Oklahoma. I can't imagine what he thought a crowd was. I really don't. But they went horse and buggy. Yeah, from Oklahoma to Canada. That one really wow. That had to have been the most amazing trip.
Wow.
Ever.
Yeah. I have pictures of my great-grandparents driving through Yosemite when it was a dirt road. And they had used rope to tie a full dining room table, like not a camping table, but a dining room table to the side of their car.
Oh my gosh.
In order to go through Yosemite. So traveling was very different in that time, I'm sure.
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
So, there are so many parts of your talk that made my face drop. You were an occupational therapist for stroke survivors, Shirley.
Yep.
What inspired you initially to go into that field?
I always wanted to help people. I had worked in hospitals since I started working in 1979. So I would see people, I would see their struggles, I would see their pain. And the job I was in was I loved it, but it was a dead end job. There was no place to go once you got to that top level. Mm-hmm. And I just was like, what can I do to start helping people more? And I took a personality test combined with a brain test or how much knowledge you have. And it put both your personality and your ability together and came up with these, a list of what you would be really good at. And of course, some of them I just got to write off the list. I mean, they told me I could be a wonderful beautician. And it's like, would you like to see my dolls from when I was a kid? I am no beautician. So I did. I was probably too methodical in it, but I came up with my like top 4. And then I would call people in that line of work, and I would take them to lunch and talk about what they do and all that. So that's how I settled on OT. I know there's PT and there's speech therapy and all that, but it resonated with me.
And then when you went through your stroke, you decided to be your own occupational therapist.
Yeah.
Would you ever have suggested that to anyone else?
Not unless they have ornery, obstinate, and stubborn behind their name. Truly. I mean, I think of it now and it's like, wow, you really made that decision to do it on your own.
Did you?
So all I can do is just give me credit.
Yeah. Did you talk to your colleagues or anyone about it before you made that decision? The decision to be your own occupational therapist?
No.
And how did you decide that?
When I took the one lady to lunch, she worked in OT in the school systems. And she told me about other, like working skilled nursing or other places. And it resonated with me. I'm just one of those people where if I think about it and I feel it, I know it's right in my heart. And I went for it. I mean, I quit a job after 15 years. I packed up my house, rented it out, and moved clear to Denver to go to school. So, I mean, it was just a lot of, changes at that time.
Yeah. When you decided to be your own occupational therapist after the stroke, did you have any hesitation to be your own?
Absolutely not. My doctor asked me if I wanted to have OT and ST, speech therapy. And I looked at her and said, why? I have a degree in both. I can remember that to this day, 6.5 years later. Yeah. It's like, no, I can do it myself. And I did. But I would not recommend it really for people. It's just because I'm ornery, obstinate, and stubborn that I knew I would follow through and do it. I didn't need somebody else to say, well, do this, do this, do this. That I guess I motivated myself and it worked out. But yeah, I wouldn't recommend it for everybody.
Yeah. Oh, well, thank you. And then this is a little bit of a side note. You mentioned a ceremonial fire. Can you tell me more about that? When you were talking about sometimes you just know deep inside of you. I'm wondering more about your spiritual side. What was the ceremonial fire about when you were camping?
That one was more about, at that point, because I knew something was wrong. So I wanted acceptance of whatever really happened, which I didn't know until later. Just a lot of self-talk of, okay, there is something wrong. You can fight this. You've got it in you to whatever the doctor tells you is wrong to go through and do what you need to do to get to where you want to be. Because at that point, I still had a lot of traveling I wanted to do, a lot of retreats I wanted to go on, and this, that, and the other thing. And I was just looking for strength, inner strength at that point. So it was kind of multifaceted. And every ceremonial fire I do is different because it depends on why am I doing it? What's in my thought pattern at that time. But right then it was what happened to my brain.
Hmm. And how does that work? Do you do ceremonial fires often? And how did you develop that practice?
I started back in the 90s with meditation. So that taught me a lot about everything, not just, the breathing and the letting the mind unchatter, but they also would do ceremonial fires for lots of different reasons. And so I just started creating ones more focused to me and what I needed in my life at that time.
You developed that practice in your own life, huh?
Yep.
See. Oh, that's beautiful. And you talked about when your brother came to visit to take care of your mom. At this point, you still hadn't received your test results. Is this right? When you went out?
No.
So you were camping in the woods.
Yes.
Driving, how long? How much time did it take you from your campsite to drive to the hospital for the test?
It was 50 miles each way.
50?
Yep.
So you would sleep out in the woods.
Yep.
You would drive into town to get your tests done and then drive back out to the woods. I'm thinking and I love camping. I spend a lot of time camping. But there are times that it goes through my head that I'm like, what if something happens to me out here and people can't get to me in time? You knew something was going on with yourself.
I did.
And you chose to be out there. Tell me what thoughts went through your head. Were you?
Well, pondering that question, I can tell you, I was not thinking about what if. I really wasn't. I was thinking more, I'm out here camping. Mom doesn't know I'm getting all these tests done. Because it would be like, how am I going to explain why am I going to Eugene every day to the hospital and not let her know? So that's where my mind was more than on, oh gosh, I'm out here. What if I collapse or have another stroke?
Oh, so it was a way for you to hide.
Yes.
Going back and forth to the hospital because you weren't living in the same house as your mom. So she wasn't you coming and going.
Right.
I see.
Because she would like, how come you're going to Eugene every day?
Right.
What excuse would I give?
Yeah.
So I say that's where my mindset was. It wasn't on my safety or my concern about myself. I wanted her protected.
Huh. Yeah. And so you were the caregiver for your mom at that point. Tell me more about, you mentioned that you didn't want her to worry about you, but tell me more about your relationship with her when you were her caregiver. And then after that, I want to hear more about what was going on in your head.
I loved my mom. Very much so. And because I stayed single, I was the one that moved up here with both my parents. My dad passed 3 years after we moved up here in 2007, and then mom another 11 years later. So it was important for me to be with her for that process, even though it took her a year and a half of slowly going down. I wanted to be aware of it for myself, of what she was going through and what it's like to take a long time to pass away. Because my dad had died like sudden, just he was gone. So, and I wanted to be there for her. I wanted her to be able to talk to me about her fears surrounding death and what was going to happen. And I also wanted to talk to her enough to find out what type of death she wanted. Because too many times the family, oh no, they're not doing that. We're going to do this. And it's just like the person who's dying should have all that control. So we were always talking together about, this is what I want. This is what I don't want. So we did a lot of that during that time. And there was a part of me that was a little bit emotional on it, but because of my work in occupational therapy, I had gone through that with a lot of patients. And a lot of times they just wanted somebody to listen to them. And that's what I did with Mom. If she wanted to talk about death every evening, that's what we talked about. So that by the time she actually got to that last phase of passing away, I knew what she wanted, and we did that.
Oh, what a gift.
So then she could die happy because she was getting the death she wanted. And I was happy because I knew I was giving her that.
That's beautiful, Shirley.
It wasn't easy.
No. And it's clearly still not.
Yep.
So when you were hiding when you were hiding your own health difficulties, not knowing that it was a stroke yet, was your own mortality going through your mind when you were having these conversations?
It wasn't. It really wasn't. I would have to ponder what was I thinking during that time. But yeah, that I don't think actually dying ever came up to me. I think because of my ornery, obstinate, and stubborn, I'm going to go in my time, in my way, and nobody's going to tell me different. So it's, I'm going to go when I'm ready, not when anybody else says I am ready.
So how about looking from now, from this time period? Was there ever a point up until now that you were thinking about your mortality throughout the stroke or throughout recovery?
Well, yeah, not really until about a year ago. And I moved into my own place after Mom died so I could create new memories. And I'm not even sure what sparked me, but my folks had actually, when we were kids, bought 4 plots for us to be all buried together, but they're double deckers. And I'm always teasing my brother. I says, do you want to die first so I can pass gas on you? Or do you want me to be underneath and you die after so I can kick you all the time? I view death differently than most people, so sorry. So I actually did at that time. I decided what type of death do I want? Where do I want to be buried? How do I want to be buried? And actually, I have a place in Eugene, and they already have my tombstone on it because I prepaid for that, and it's there. The only thing it needs is me whenever I decide to go.
Yeah. It's like sharing bunk beds.
Yeah.
Which thing do I want to share a bunk bed with?
I know.
Thank you. Wow. This conversation has gone in a different direction than I thought it was.
Well, you can always go back. It's fine.
So actually, I want to talk a little bit about something that you mentioned in the talk. You were saying that you saw it more as an opportunity to recreate yourself. You said you never saw it as a time that you were going to die. You were going to lose your life. Instead, you thought of it as a time to recreate yourself. Tell me more about that.
As I say, I never thought about it being a lifelong. And I knew that there was going to be changes to my life, that I was no longer going to be that person that I was before the stroke. But I also didn't want it to stop me from experiencing life, experiencing the world. I still have walking to do. I still have camping I want to do. I still have traveling I want to do. I still want to go to the ocean and mountains and water, etc. So it never really became I can't do that anymore. It changed my thought of what am I going to do today to make me happy? Is it a picnic in the park? Is it going to the beach for the day? What is it that I can do, despite the fact that I get dizzy, and I still do. Yesterday was one of those days I was dizzy. But it's like, I don't know. I don't have that stop ability in me. I'm not quite sure where that came from, but it is within me to just keep experiencing and doing the things I want to do no matter what.
Mm. That stoppability. Wow. Yeah, you mentioned I cannot let a bad day control who I am.
Mm-hmm.
In talking about choose, you said I choose how my day is going to go, how I'm going to experience my day. Uh,
Uh,
and you didn't say I don't have bad days. Instead, you said I cannot let a bad day control who I am.
correct.
And then you followed that up with this mind game takes practice.
And it did. I mean, when I first heard that, and it was approached to me that every morning I have two choices. One's to have a good day, one's to have a bad day, and the choice is mine. Nobody else's, mine. And why would I give myself a bad day?
Mm.
Doesn't mean I don't go through, normal people emotions. It's just that there's this part of me now that just like, I want my happiest day. And so I just kind of create it.
So what happens when those emotions come up, like the emotions that might feel a little bit more heavy?
I think the biggest thing first is to acknowledge them. Okay, I'm having a down day. It's okay to have those down moments. Let's go for a walk,
Mm.
or let's go to the beach. Take the dog and go to the beach.
Mm-hmm.
So I acknowledge it, I accept it, but I don't let it take over.
Mm.
It's like limiting it to here instead of letting it grow into, a little rock into a big boulder.
Mm-hmm. I remember my mom when I had my stroke and I couldn't walk, but she did this when we were little kids too. She thought it was so important to change the setting. And so she would take me outside and I couldn't
Nice.
walk, but she would take me outside and just the fresh air.
Yeah.
Another thing is that when you're in bed, opening the window,
Yes. Yeah.
somehow changing the environment
Yeah.
in ways that we can. We don't all have the same abilities throughout our recovery, but that's a really good point. Thank you for saying that.
Yep.
Yeah, acknowledging it, because you're right. We can't ignore it. It'll just come back up.
Yeah. Or get worse.
Yeah. You also said, I just need to say it aloud, have faith, and let my true self lead. Tell me more
Yep.
about that.
I have always heard, and I don't know who originally said it. They said that if you say something to yourself out loud, your brain has to listen. So I can whisper to myself or think inside my head, I want to have a better day today.
Mm-hmm.
But that doesn't mean I'm going to have one. But when you say it, I'm going to have a good day, your hearing listens. So it goes back in your ear, goes into your mind. And to me, it starts changing things and changes my outlook on that day.
Mm. Mm.
I've had a lot of people tell me lots of little wisdom things here and there. I love it. I'm glad they did.
Yeah. Another wisdom thing that I love from your talk is instead of asking, why me? Why did this happen to me? Ask, why not me?
Yeah. I heard that from another person in my past. And it's true. I mean, because it was my time to have a stroke. I didn't one time boo-hoo, poor me, I've had a stroke. And I think it's because of that statement. It's like, why not me? Why would I be the only one in life to skate through with no problems? It doesn't work that way. So it helped me to accept it more, accept it quicker, and say, okay, this is what's happening. Let's get on with life and do it and make more good memories in it.
That strength. Why not me? Why not me? I
It's a
mean,
hard question, but it's, it is a good one.
mm-hmm. You've clearly taken your recovery process as a way to, like you said, recreate yourself, refine yourself. I think you also said, and that's what you're saying about why not me? As an opportunity.
Yeah, it's an opportunity for growth, for change, and I still have weeks. I can fall 3 times in 1 week. I get up, I keep going after I bandage myself. Because usually I'm bleeding here, there, or the other place.
Oh.
But, it's like, okay, get up. And if you think about it, we have an opportunity after stroke to visibly see what we learned as a child. How many times does a child fall learning to walk, but they get up? How many times do they drop a fork or a spoon, feeding themselves, learning how to? They don't give up. So I've always viewed it as this opportunity to go back and see what we did as children. We all did. Otherwise, we would not be dressing ourselves or feeding ourselves or being able to walk. So I viewed it as an opportunity. It's like, wow, this is what I had to go through as a kid, only I don't have diapers on to protect my bum.
Well, and it's a beginner's mind, right?
Yes.
And there's this innocence about it. And sometimes a little bit of joy. I hear a lot of joy in your voice. You laugh a lot, you joke a lot. And I'm sure that has helped your recovery process also.
Yes.
The levity.
Yes. And I joke with other people because I want them to have a good day too. And I'll tell you this, I don't know where I came up with it at, but as you know, you can tell I like to tease a lot and I like to tell jokes. So my newest statement is I only tease on days that end in Y. So you have a 50-50 chance I won't tease you today.
And I'm sure that teasing is a little bit of a sign of love.
That in it's also stress relief.
For sure.
So, you get it out of you, but you do it in a constructive way that other people like. They think you're joking with them. And sometimes it is. It's out of pure enjoyment of liking, to tease people and make them feel better. But other times, you can get a little like, okay, I'm pissed today. I'm going to, But you can say it in such a nice way, they have no idea that you're letting off steam in your own way.
Oh, no, surely. So it's clear that you are very self-sufficient and you care for others and you try to be your own occupational therapist.
Yes.
But no one does it purely on their own. So I'm wondering who has been supportive of you throughout the recovery process. You mentioned coworkers, being able to tell them to look out for you. Were there neighbors or doctors or acquaintances, other stroke survivors who've been encouraging?
I used to belong to, but it doesn't meet anymore. I had a meditation group. So they were helpful. If I was having a rough day, I could let them know it. Unfortunately, one of them just, don't die on me. And I'm like, that's not helping. But that was, it was nice to know that I was that loved, that she didn't want anything happening to me. But mostly on my own, it really has. I didn't tell any neighbors. My brother knew, but much as I love my brother and he loves me, he's not supportive. I've never sat down and talked to him about how I feel about the stroke or what's still going on. Why? I don't know. I'll have to look into that and figure out why have I never talked to my brother about it.
Yeah. Tell me about the group through Peace Health.
Oh, the stroke support group at River Bend. Yeah. I actually I was working at South Lane. And one of my jobs was to go with people, whether it was a doctor's appointment or whatever. And when I was in skilled nursing and worked as an occupational therapy, we had a patient there that had a stroke. He actually had to have part of his bone skull taken off because he was so swollen. So I did therapy with him until he got good enough to go back to the hospital, have that piece of bone put back on his head. So then I went and started working at South Lane, and lo and behold, they needed someone to go with this man to the support group because he was in a wheelchair. He needed help in the bathroom and, stuff like that, and wheeling himself to and from the conference room we met in. So I was there for 6 months or a year as his support. Mm-hmm. And after I had the stroke, the first time that I went back with him, because they always would go around the room, ask you your name, when you had your stroke, how you doing. And I remember that day I stood up. I says, I'm Shirley. I had my stroke April 15th, 2017. And oh, by the way, I felt so bad that I didn't feel like I belonged in this group. I had a stroke. And that's how I told him. And I've been going ever since for me.
Good.
So that's how I started. I hadn't even had a stroke when I started there. I don't know if something in the ethers knew I was going to have a stroke and I needed to be a part of that group.
Yeah.
I don't know, but it was interesting how that transpired. And those people are 30 so amazing people. They're just so awesome to know.
Wow, Shirley. Yeah. Thank you. Thank you. Yeah, I've heard a lot about that group. It sounds like a very powerful, loving, supportive, inspiring community. And
it is. There's never one boohoo among anybody. It's all the things they share are what's changing in their life. What are they doing now that they couldn't do before? We just had one of the guys in our group this last time. After 10 years, after his stroke, he finally got his driver's license back. Wow. He's been trying and trying and trying, and he finally got it back. And another man, his whole goal was to walk around the block unassisted, well, except for a cane. And his stroke was so bad, he was wheelchair bound. Then he used a walker. Then he went to a cane. And he has, even 10, 12 years after his stroke, he has all these goals that are related to a stroke. And he came in last time and said, I made it around the block.
Yes. Oh, yeah. That's so fun. It sounds like a group of celebration.
It is. It is, because people share that part. They don't come in and say, I'm really depressed, I'm down, they don't bring in that negativity. They bring in, this is what I'm doing to do this better. This is what I want to do. This is, how I'm doing it.
Yeah.
So yeah, it's an amazing group.
Oh, I love it. Oh, well, Shirley, thank you so much. Thank you for joining us today. Thanks for preparing the talk. And thanks for meeting with me. I've really enjoyed our time together. You definitely know how to make people smile, and you're full inspiration.
Thank you.
Yeah, thank you. So before we close today, let's take a moment. Let's take a moment to create space for those times of celebration, those things that we have been able to regain, ways that we've recreated ourselves, ways that we have been inspired to offer our true selves to this world. We're also grateful for those who surround us and the opportunities that we've been given. Thank you for devoting time and space to listen to Part 2, Shirley Howell's interview. For the full story, please listen to Part 1, Shirley Howell's story, on Beyond Stillness, Stories After Stroke. Each colorful memory creates a parable for life's greater teachings, a compass for journeys ahead, and inspired wisdom for unique growth. In this episode of Beyond Stillness, guest Shirley Howell offered her story about how her 3 lifelong characteristics of ornery, obstinate, and stubborn have positively influenced her recovery. She's found the time after stroke as an opportunity to refine and recreate herself. If you enjoyed this moment of pause for storytelling and reflection, please like, share, or subscribe to Beyond Stillness Stories After Stroke podcast. Again, thanks for listening. And remember, as part of the stroke community, you are more than supportive. You are inspirational. I'm your host, Molly Bucola.
Beyond Stillness, Stories After Stroke is made possible by our guests and tax-deductible donations from friends and listeners like you. Join us in empowering stroke survivors with stories of wisdom, purpose, connection, and hope at www.beyondstillness.org. Another way to support is to like, share, or subscribe to our weekly show. Again, thank you for devoting time and space for this week's episode of Beyond Stillness, Stories After Stroke.